Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are general readings of the energies and overarching themes that everybody is going to experience over the course of the week. So sometimes we'll talk about world events, but I always try to tie it in with what's going to happen for us on the ground level as well. And I always incorporate an intuitive message from my own intuition each week as well. So if you are a new subby, thank you so much for being here. Please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. For those of you that are continued subbies, you know Rafi loves you. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your, or should I say our paths, to our highest vibrational good. So this week, for the intuitive message, what I could see was, you know, like one of those old-fashioned sort of dictaphone type things, and it was blaring out, but it was like everything that was coming out of it was like this really refined, beautiful music. And the way that it was reaching people was, it was almost like there were words in the music, but there weren't any words, if that makes any sense. It probably doesn't, but it's the best way that I can put it. And this week, the message that came through was find the most poetic way to say what needs to be said. So whatever it is that you need to get across, whatever it is that you are bursting to say, whatever it is that you are hoping to share with the world, do it this week. Absolutely do it. Find the words, find the right way to speak whatever your personal truth is at this moment in time. If there's something difficult that you need to say, if there's a tough conversation that needs to be had, if there is a message that you have for the world in some way, shape or form, this week you are being encouraged to speak, to shout from the rooftops, to sing like a canary, as I say, whatever it is. But find a way to make the words that you use, the eloquence, the cadence of your speech, like find a way to deliver your message, especially if it's a challenging one, especially if it's something that you know a lot of people are going to be resistant to. Find a way to say what needs to be said in a way that makes the most impact. And I'll give you an example. It's like when we see the Five of Swords, I often say to people, you know, don't let the way that you deliver your message take away from the quality of your words. And this is something that's going to be really important for all of us in some way, shape or form. Something this week needs to be said, and you're going to have to find not only the right words but the right way, the most poetic way to say it, especially if it's something challenging or difficult. So for the wider world stage, I believe that means we'll probably be hearing something that maybe a lot of people don't want to hear, and it'll be interesting to see how it is delivered and what kind of, excuse my language, but shit sandwich they give us, right? that's the way of it. They give you something good, this is wonderful, then they give you the bad, and then they give you something good. So it's, you know, like they say, a shit sandwich, excuse my language. So for your destiny card this week, we have the Strength card. Finding the strength, the courage and the honesty and the depth of integrity in the heart space to speak your truth. Whenever we see the Strength card, we're always being reminded that we have the courage, that we have the strength, and we are going to need to dig in, maybe sometimes as well, into those inner reserves of strength. You know, everybody has, in my opinion anyway, everybody has an inner strength or an inner reserve of energies, an inner depth of wisdom and courage and power that very often we don't really delve into, that we don't really draw upon, because a lot of people kind of go through things in that what's the word, autopilot state. But this week you are being urged to dig in deep, into maybe deeper than you have in a long time. This is about connecting to your own inner power. It's about finding your own inner courage and strength to push past something. So whatever it is that needs to be done this week, find the courage and the strength within yourself. Like there's going to be something that comes up, maybe not necessarily as a test, but it will definitely be something that's going to require that inner strength that you have. This week you're going to be encouraged to find that within yourself, and it will be important to do so. When it comes to your destiny direction cards, how do we best utilize this? How do we best tap into this Strength card energy? What may we need to know, and how do we put it into practice? And this week we get The Four of Pentacles, so standing your ground is going to be absolutely important, but it's also going to be important to know when so one way to look at this would be literally knowing when to stand your ground and knowing when you're being too rigid, knowing when you are too far set in your ways, having the courage and the strength to change. The Two of Wands, all right, so I like this. Having the courage and the strength to change the people that you associate with, to maybe walk a different path to the one that you've always walked. This is about really finding the courage to do what's necessary versus what's easy. And then we have the Star card, right? So finding groups, finding new people, finding new groups to associate yourself with, thinking about what you say online and how you say it, thinking about the messages that you deliver to the world and how you deliver them. Now, as direction energy, I really like this because in a way it kind of suggests to me that we are changing our own, I don't want to say demographic because that sounds sort of too stuffy, but we're certainly changing our own status quo in some way, shape or form. Like, this is about us looking at our associations. It's really going to see us paying attention to what and who we're attached to, and more importantly, what we are taking in, right? We don't just consume food and water or food and liquids. We consume everything. We consume thoughts, we consume emotions, we consume ties, friendships, you know, media, all of those things. This week is a really good week for you to pay attention to that, because I think this is going to help us, I think all of us in some way, shape or form, this is going to help us see where our associations and our ties are either good for us or not so good for us. Now, another way to look at this as well, on the wider world stage, I think we're going to be seeing some developments, not only with the financial world, and this is happening a lot and it keeps coming up as a message. So the reason I say that is because of the Four of Pentacles. So something to do with the banks is definitely likely to come up. And then because we've got the Star card, which represents all manner and form of technologies, we could be seeing something again, this whole thing with the digital currencies and you know, moving money online, changing from cash into digital currency. It's already underway, and I think we're just going to see more and more and more of this as time goes by. Now, the other thing on the wider world stage, I think this could be a time where we are starting to understand group dynamics a lot differently. And I think this is where we're going to really start to understand not only what the impact of the whole COVID thing is, you only have to look outside to see it, right? But I think more than anything, this is going to really start, I think this week we're going to start to see or understand where this blending of the online world and the outer world comes together. A really good example that I found I was a bit dubious about was the whole Pokemon Go thing. I was like, they're just finding new ways to track us and making it look like a game. But that's me, I'm an Aquarius, so you know, conspiracy theories are definitely my thing. But yeah, all jokes aside, I think we could be seeing a lot more developments like that. So having the strength to know where you're being too rigid, but also knowing where to stand your ground. Maybe as well having the strength to deny yourself something for the greater, you know, for the greater benefit in the long term. So their energy of delayed gratification definitely in there. With the Two of Wands, this is about really finding the courage to go after what it is that you actually want. Having the grit and the determination to tread onto, or you know, onto a new path or in a new direction. And for a lot of people it is going to be scary, but the decision this week is being made. And then with the Star card there, this is about the hopeful and optimistic drive towards the future. Now here's where it gets really interesting. The Star card is number 17, the Strength card is number 8. In the tarot, these are numerological opposites. In their astrological associations of Leo and Aquarius, they are also direct opposites. So there is an energy this week of something coming full circle, but there's also an energy of things reaching a satisfactory conclusion in some way, shape or form, which I find very, very exciting. All right, so then for our insight cards, what might we need to know? What is the added or extra energies or messages going on behind the scenes? And this week we have, all right, that feels good. The Queen of Pentacles, all right, so getting the most out of everything that we are working on at the moment. And through the guise of the Strength card, in a lot of ways, this is about really starting to ask yourself, what is superfluous here? What is frivolous? What doesn't need to be here? What is out of place? Then we have the Page of Pentacles. So for those of you that have businesses or hobbies or, you know, anything like that, of that kind of small project nature, this week is about really tightening things up, putting the final finishing details on things, getting things to, and it's really interesting that this has come up because just recently I've started to refine, I'm currently teaching the first ever tarot course that I've ever taught. And this week I'm really going through the process of refining everything, of getting everything. So, you know, it was good before, but with the insight that I have, you know, because I'm learning on the job in that regard as well. I've never been a teacher before. So it's really, really interesting. And this week, I think this energy is speaking to that. Not only about getting the most out of what you're doing, but refining that, like really making it better than it was before, defining the edges, sharpening the blade. This is the energy of you know, refining the meal or the taste, knowing what element is out of place. This is a really powerful week for that. And it comes up with the 10 of Cups. So for those of you that are looking for homes, wanting to move, considering moves, this is a great week for that, because you're going to start to refine and define what that actually looks like and where it is coming in. For those of you that are looking to work from home or refine your business or your home-based business in some way, shape or form, that is absolutely there as well. But the Strength card is what's infusing all of this. And the message here, as far as I'm concerned, is very, very clear. Self-discipline, focus, finding the strength and the courage to do what needs to be done. I remember reading a line in a book years ago that really hit home for me. And it was this person said, it's not enough just to be a good person. You also have to be tough enough to do what needs to be done. And when I read that, I was just like, boom, like it stuck in my mind. Obviously, you know, I was 17 when I read that book, but it really, really hit home. And this is that message. This is that energy encapsulated, right? The Strength card is asking you to find that courage, that strength, that inner self-discipline to do what needs to be done. And with these cards, I mean, these are beautiful, right? The Queen of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, and the 10 of Cups. This is, you know, for those of you that are starting a business this week, the energy is wonderful for you. It's going to take courage. It's going to take heart. For those of you that are thinking about changing the home or changing the direction of the work, it's going to take guts. Now, because we've got these direction cards here, that 4 of Pentacles, it really does for me. This is about, it's not just about refining the recipe. It's about being able to say, this doesn't work. I'm taking it out and replacing it with something that does. That's the 2 of Wands, you know, and going in a new direction that's going to take me to somewhere that I'm not really 100% sure of, the Star card, but I know that it's going in the right direction. That's the hopeful energy of the Star card. I actually really love this week. I think this is going to be a great week for all of us in some way, shape or form. I truly hope that this speaks to all of you in some way. On the wider world stage, that insight triplet, I think we're going to see developments on the real estate side of things, definitely. I think this is also going to be a week where we will likely be seeing or hearing news to do with food, agriculture, all of those things. And I also think we're going to be looking at, and this is an issue that's already in the news all the time anyway, but I think this week we are going to be seeing something to do with sustainability. And I think this is going to come up in a really big way. I mean, you know, COVID did wonders for that whole thing, because everything that was consumed was less of the, you know, the disposable stuff. Well, the masks notwithstanding, but you get my point. All right. We started looking at alternative ways to do things, and I think this week we're really going to start to understand how we can blend this, how we can keep the way that we've done things during the pandemic and fuse them into the way that things were before. I think this week we are going to see that sort of dovetail energy. It's going to take strength, it's going to take courage, because we're going in new directions, and we are in a lot of ways going into uncharted territory. All right, with that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shows up for you, what you think, what you feel. And also, I love when you guys post newspaper articles and links to videos on things that have come up in the reading, because it kind of shows us how it plays out on the wider world stage as well. All right, with that said, take care and I'll see you soon.